Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk welcomed British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg to Warsaw for talks about further aid for Ukraine. Ahead of the visit, the United Kingdom government said Sunak would announce £500 million in new British military supplies, including 400 vehicles, 60 boats, 1,600 missiles and 4 million rounds of ammunition. The shipment will include British Storm Shadow long-range missiles, which have a range of some 150 miles and which have proved effective at hitting Russian targets. The announcement comes 3 days after the United States House of Representatives approved a $61 billion in aid for Ukraine, as American lawmakers raced to deliver a fresh round of US support to the war-torn ally. However, Downing Street did not indicate whether the aid would be immediately available for delivery. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has repeatedly pleaded for greater international assistance, warning that his country will lose the war without it. Ammunition shortages linked to the aid holdup over the past 6 months have led Ukrainian military commanders to ration shell, a disadvantage that Russia seized on this year, taking the city of Avdiivka and currently inching towards the town of Chasiv Yar, also in the eastern Donetsk region. Poland's largest trade union, Solidarity, together with farmers, invites you to a protest on the 10th of May. Down with the Green Deal. This is a demonstration and an apolitical protest organised by the Solidarity of Workers with the participation and co-organisation of the Solidarity of Individual Farmers. I emphasise again, apolitical. The implementation of the Green Deal would lead directly to the bankruptcy of agricultural enterprises and as a result threatens food security of Poles. Farmers say the government has stopped talking to them. It is an unthinkable situation for the government not to talk about the very important issues. The demonstration will begin collecting signatures for a proposal for a nationwide referendum. Are you in favour of a commitment by the President of the Republic of Poland, the Parliament of the Republic of Poland, the Government of the Republic of Poland, to reject Poland's climate policy in its current form contained in the European Green Deal?
Czy wiesz, że Unia Europejska wprowadza...
Did you know that the European Union is introducing a new tax, ETS2? It will be paid by anyone who heats their home with the help of gas, coal, or has an internal combustion engine car. Together with the ETS tax, the cost per household in 2050 could be 10,000 zloty. This is why the Green Deal is becoming known as the so-called Red Deal, because its essence boils down to taxing most areas of life and resembles the communist system. There are estimates that from 30 to 60,000 per year one working person will pay for the next 10 years. The Green Deal was the first to be opposed by farmers openly. They are protesting on roads across the country and at border crossings. Now is a difficult time because we have to work, but we do not give up. We will persist until the end. Yesterday at the border crossing in Dorohorsk, the protest was abruptly dissolved by village head Marek Sava. In an act of solidarity, the farmers blocked the provincial road at the Warkowice junction with the A2 highway. Police insisted that the protesters stand down. If you show me a document that I have to have permission when protesting spontaneously, then I will step down. The situation is getting tougher. Grain prices are low and subsidies are not there yet. On the 12th of April, the European Council, without any objection from the Polish government, adopted a directive on the energy performance of buildings, which stipulates, among other things, that by 2030 all new buildings must be zero emission, and by 2050 this is applied to all existing buildings. By 2040 all fossil fuel boilers in residential buildings are to be phased out to be replaced by photovoltaic installations. This also hits everyone who drives a car, who owns homes, who uses electricity, generally everyone. Achieving zero carbon means being forced to carry out thermo-retrofitting of buildings, such as by insulating them. It is estimated that this will cost Poles 1.5 trillion zloty, which they will pay out of their own pockets. On the 10th of May, the protests will march in front of the European Commission's representation building and in front of the Polish Parliament. Polish farmers are not the only ones opposing the provisions of the Green Deal. Protests are taking place in many European Union countries. Already farmers are announcing the next big protest in the largest states of the Union at the beginning of June, in the middle of the campaign before the elections to the European Parliament. Łukasz Muda, TV Republika. Dams holding vast amounts of uranium mine tailings above the fertile Fergana Valley in Central Asia are unstable, threatening a possible Chernobyl-scale nuclear disaster were they to collapse that would make the region uninhabitable, studies have revealed. The most dangerous thing here is a landslide from the opposite slope. If an earthquake happens, a landslide will take place and it will slide down into the water. The water then will break through the dam of the tailing dump. If the dam is destroyed, the content of all the tailing dumps dug in here will be washed down into the river, flowing to the neighbouring countries. Dams holding some 700,000 cubic metres of uranium mine tailings in Kyrgyzstan have become unreliable following a 2017 landslide. A further landslide or earthquake could send their contents into the river system used to irrigate Kyrgyz, Uzbek and Tajik farmlands. The studies at the Soviet-era radioactive waste disposal facility have shown that event would possibly displace millions in those countries. The studies, part of a project by the European Commission and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development to reinforce facilities, show that the type of waste involved cannot be safely contained in their current locations and need to be moved away from the banks of the Melusu River. The Fergana Valley, where the contaminated water would go, is the most densely populated area in Central Asia, with 16 million people, many of whom are involved in the cultivation of cotton, rice, grains, fruit and vegetables. Studies have shown that the waste in those dumps is liquid, making it more hazardous, and it could flow into the river in the event of a strong earthquake, says Sebastian Hess, an engineer with German firm GEOS, contracted by the Kyrgyz government. 23 tailing dumps and 13 slag heaps are located in Melusu. Their total volume is about 4,000 cubic meters. The city of Melusu is thought to be among the most dangerous cities in Kyrgyzstan in terms of the quantity of mining waste of the former Soviet Union. The dam's foundations were weakened by water during a 2017 landslide, which raised the river's water level, bringing it closer to the tailings, engineers have said. The Bishkek government and GEOS estimate that 22 to 25 million euros would be needed to move the waste from the two unsafe locations to one further away from the river. The area near the town of Melusu, one of the world's biggest uranium ore dumps, was developed by the Soviet Union between the 1940s and the 1960s. A factory in the town also processed uranium ore from other nearby mines. 5 migrants, including a child, died in an attempt to cross the English Channel from France to Great Britain in an overcrowded small boat on Tuesday, hours after the United Kingdom passed a bill to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda in a move designed to deter the dangerous journeys. The deaths occurred when a boat carrying 112 people set out to cross one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, and panic took hold among the passengers not far from the shore. Rescuers picked up 49 people, with 4 taken to hospital, but others stayed on the boat determined to get to Great Britain. The French Coast Guard was still searching for any survivors and said that 58 people had stayed on board. The boat had left from Wimereux, about 32 kilometres southwest of the French port of Calais. Wimereux's mayor puts the blame on Great Britain for policies that encourage the arrival of migrants.
It's an
English decision. For my part, I'm not in favour of this decision. This is a pretty simplistic decision on their part, I think. Today, for the part of my town, we are up to 10 deaths today. And we're in April now. In January, I sounded the alarm. I expressed my anger, and today I'm even angrier. Today we're seeing the same thing happen again. We must do something. We must act at the borders. We must improve the filtering at the borders. It's not possible to give them space, let them come and then send them to their death. The British are the ones responsible. More than 6,000 people have arrived in Britain this year via small overcrowded boats, usually flimsy inflatable dinghies, that risk being lashed by the waves as they try to reach the British shores. I find this a bit sad, but I think Britain is not wrong to regulate the arrivals of migrants in their country. It's not that this law is too tough. It's in fact a law that is a resignation by all of the states that would sign it. It's called deportation. It's extremely shameful, in fact. Tens of thousands have made the journey since 2018, and Britain has responded by spending 2 years trying to overcome opposition to a divisive policy to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, which it hopes will deter people from making the crossings. The British Parliament finally passed legislation overnight to allow the deportations, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said he expects the first flights to take off in 10 to 12 weeks, giving time for further legal challenges from charities, campaigners and unions. Human rights groups and other critics say the policy is inhumane. Sunak told reporters on Tuesday that the government was acting out of compassion, wanting to prevent people smugglers from pushing vulnerable people out to sea.